Back tonight, Section 27 claims the Gauteng Department of Health failed to spend 784 million rands meant for cancer patients, which has forced them to go to court. Others are even selling their belongings to get treatment. The group has approached the courts to try and fast-track the medical care for the patient. Human rights attorney at Section 27 Khanyisa Mapipa joins us now for more. Khanyisa, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's start today. The matter has been postponed due to some procedural delays. Just put us in the picture. What happened?
Good evening, and thank you for having us. So the matter was set down for today about 3 weeks back. The Gauteng Department of Health, together with the MEC, filed their answering affidavit to Cancer Alliance's papers only on Friday evening, which meant that Cancer Alliance had a very limited and very short period of time in which to file the replying affidavit. Over and above that, the court rules for urgent court demand that papers must be filed and are with the judge by 12 o'clock on Thursday, the Thursday preceding the Tuesday on which the matter will be heard. Obviously, given that the papers were filed, the answering affidavit was only filed on Friday, this meant that the case could not proceed today.
So, key to your case, I suppose you're raising some issues. Primarily is, of course, this quantum of 784 million, which you're saying has been underspent. The department answering saying, well, it's not really true. This amount is divided into two parts. One is funds that are going to be invested into equipment, which have been put aside. But the then big issue becomes the 250 million, which is being used for planning services for outsourcing treatment. Again, they're saying you are factually wrong in your assertion, because 250 has not been paid to a single service provider, and there's no plan to do that. Only 17.48 million has been contracted so far to various medical systems.
Yes, that is correct. So the crux of our argument lies in that we, as Section 27 and Cancer Alliance, are fighting to get the patients who are on the backlog list treated. And so our argument is that the outcome or the objectives of this tender should be to see that these patients, at the end of the day, once the money is all spent and everything is done, these patients have received their treatment. And what we're saying is that given the award of this tender and given the plans of the department, it doesn't seem that at the end of this that the patients will have what they need. And I might add that these patients are people who've been waiting for this treatment for a very long time, treatment that they are entitled to within 3 months of having their respective surgeries. And some of them have been waiting for years for it, suffering recurrences in the meantime. And so what we're saying is that it's very urgent. And for them to then go out on tender and only procure for planning services, leaving out the actual procurement of the treatment is unreasonable, and it's actually an irrational decision.
Yeah, the MEC is saying, well, that is on track. In fact, they've got their ducks in a row. Part of the reason and motivation they're saying the Cancer Alliance is bringing this is because they were left out of that particular process because of their own doing in terms of missing the deadlines of submission to this procurement process.
Well, those allegations are denied completely. Cancer Alliance is not in the business of providing medical services. It is an alliance of cancer advocates. It's made up of 30 cancer organizations, all of whom are advocate for the right to access cancer services, some of whom are people who are cancer survivors. It is not in the business of providing cancer services and has never put in a bid or thought to put in a bid for these services.
Do they have a preferred bidder that has been excluded in the process that they would have liked to benefit from this?
No, they have not. And in our engagements, the engagements that Cancer Alliance has had through Section 27, there's never been a mention of a preferred bidder that Cancer Alliance has put forward to say.
Khanyisa, you seem to be back with us there with Section 27. You're saying they've not, in your engagements with them, indicated any preferred bidder to have won this particular bid. So they are, to your point then, saying, in order for the personalized radiation therapy plan to be designed, they need a company like Varian Medical Systems to put those plans together. And these are going to be quite helpful in terms of exactly what you're saying, the ultimate goal of treating patients. But in some instances, they require CT scans. In some instances, they require particular devices. So this is a requirement that would lead to the ultimate goal of what you're asking for in your papers.
Yes, and I mean, if you've had a look at our papers, we do not dispute the awarding of the tender to Varian, or the need for Varian or Siemens or whoever it is to provide these services. It's quite true that planning services are involved in getting to the treatment, but what we are disputing is a decision that falls outside of actually getting the treatment. So it's a decision that falls short of getting patients the treatment.
Khanyisa Mapipa of Section 27 there joining us. It's the fight that they are taking to the Department of Health in Gauteng, saying they would certainly like to interdict this process of the awarding of this tender. Right.